Hello, welcome to Eva J's Mystical Messages. I'm glad you are here and I thank you for being here. I am trying to do this every day. I have been since January, which is kind of cool. And I do a meditation each day, and I'm on day 6 of the next cycle, which is what I have been told to call this. The first group of meditations were just single words that were written down and just whatever came to me. The second group was the Metatron 21-day meditation, inspired by Deborah Lupien's book, The Path to Hearing Angels and Guides. And now I'm on the third cycle, which is day number 6. So this is where I'm at, and this is where things are going. So I'm going to just start with day 6. I'm going to start reading through the meditation. But first I'm going to retrieve my pencil because it fell to the floor as I was starting. Okay, now I've got it back up on the table, so if I need it, it's there. Okay, so here we go. This is day number 6, as I said, February 25th, 2025. And yes, here we go. I started by saying, so here we go. I'm feeling rather tired today. Ramón, are you here with me now? And he says, of course, chérie. What's on your mind? I said, I don't know. And he says, yes, you do. You're tired. And that means you have something on your mind. I said, okay, I do. But it's weird. I've been watching various psychics on YouTube, and they have affirmed some of what Sunshine told me yesterday. Am I onto something here? And Ramón says, of course you are. Things on Earth are changing at a very rapid pace. You are starting to get flashes of future events in your mind. It started with your dream the other night. You are getting more and more hits with it because it becomes hard for you to keep them straight. Let's see if we can put some of them down in a coherent way. I said, okay, maybe we can start with what Sunshine said, the lesson that Europe is learning from the U.S. Can we unpack that a little? And Ramón says, of course. First of all, we can see that the lessons of America are drifting over to Europe. Is it a surprise that 20% of Germans voted against their own interests? I said, not really. And most of the power that the party had is in the East. My understanding of history shows a very strong pro-Russia tilt. And Ramón says, exactly. You are using not only your psychic skills, but also your understanding of history and politics to reach these conclusions. Logic tells us that it is only the votes that went that way they did. It also shows that there's a divide in Germany that a lot of people in the U.S. don't fully grasp. They look at the country as a whole and say, oh God, history is repeating itself. That is not entirely accurate. In fact, most of the western part of Germany went for the centrist parties. What conclusion can you draw? I said, well, that when I was in Jena, that I could see the split in the ideology of the German people. That split clearly still exists today, some 20-something years later. And Ramón says, it will take some time for Germany to recognize its role, to not only reuniting the split, but it will also take time in living up to what the democratic ideal is and not wanting or longing for someone smarter to determine what is right for them. All of this will be realized in due course. The role that America has in this is showing the people how the loss of freedom could play out. If Kamala Harris had been victorious, Germany and Europe may have repeated this sordid history because they did not have a finite example of what could actually happen. This becomes the reality for the human race. To see that this is happening in the world shows those around the world in real time what could happen, that voting does have consequences. I said it is a very harsh lesson. And Ramón says, indeed, but humanity, by and large, are a stubborn lot. I said, I know, but what can I do? And Ramón says, you're doing it. You are sharing these dialogues and informing people. It may be a relief to some that recognizing the reason for these things to happen is going to protect democracies everywhere. And I said, what if Harris had won? What would it have meant for Europe? Ramón says it would have possibly ended the European Union as you know it. The radical parties would have taken over in Europe, and the world would have fallen into chaos. It is a question of who would be on the right side of human history. And I said, maybe it is a blessing in disguise, but still, what is happening there is terrible. And Ramón says, you cannot change it. You voted, you made a choice. What people who did vote for this have to realize is how much damage has been done based on ill-informed decisions. But then again, people do make ill-informed decisions every day. You must not condemn yourself or others based on being ill-informed. I said, is it okay to be angry with those who chose the wrong candidates? Ramón says, what good would that do? I said, I guess none. And Ramón says, the act of choosing should not be condemned. The result of the choice is all the karma that the person will need. And I said, I lost a friend of close to 40 years because of this choice. I said, well, Ramón said, well, that friend, and he said friend in quotes, was never your friend to begin with, Yvette. To get angry with someone for making a choice they did not like and yelling at you for having a different opinion shows that human beings can be very conditional in their ways of coping. You may have known this person, but if they refuse to accept your ideas, they were never your friend to begin with. I said, my grandfather once said that in one's lifetime you can only count the number of friends you have on one hand. And Ramón says, not exactly true, but the sentiment is accurate. If you are afraid to tell your friends what you are doing, then you must ask yourself if they are truly your friends. A true friend will accept you for who you are. They will not cast you off if you do something they don't agree with. The same should also be said about you. If you cannot accept another person for the way they are or the way they feel, then you are not their friend at all. I said, is that a bad thing? And Ramón says, no, it's just what it is. It is why personal relationships end and why people move on to new ones. The idea is not to expect people to conform to your ideas, but to understand that all people are on various levels of being. I said, that makes sense. Okay, can we talk about what happened last time we spoke? Why was my reaction to Mr. Rogers so intense? And Ramón says, it was intense because you felt a sense of guilt about it. I said, guilt? And Ramón says, yes. Do you remember when you were living in New Jersey? I said, yeah, I do. Ramón said, you think that you could have gone to Pittsburgh to see him. You could not have. This was not merely a place that you could have just walked into. The reality is he had a job to do, and you respected that. You were not guilty of not going to see him. You just were not able to. I said, I wish I had. And Ramón says he knows that. But you should let that go. He does not blame you for not coming. It had more an impact on you than it did on him. You were not meant to meet up with all the people you admire. You could simply say, okay, they had an impact on my life, but now it is time for me to release them and release my dependency on them. I asked, is that what I did? And he said, yes, it was. He knows that you would have loved to have come, but he also knows that there were reasons why you couldn't. Keep in mind, what you had with those letters is something very special. You became his German neighbor. That was special too, and many people did not have that at all. I said, yes, when I was told that, it meant a lot. And Ramón says, indeed, that was a friendship. When people see that, some might say that it was not real, but you hold those letters in your hand, and that is proof enough that it is real. Perhaps the people who responded negatively to you were jealous. I said, why would anyone be jealous of me? I mean, if they were jealous, what is the point? And Ramón says, good question. I wish I had an answer. But consider this. The emotion of jealousy is a lot like fear. The fear of being something or of being something being made to feel less than perfect. Do you remember how you define jealousy and envy? I said, yeah. I always call jealousy the desire to take something away from another person. Envy is being happy for that person's good fortune, but wishing something just as good could happen to me. It doesn't imply that I would want to take it away from them. I know that some people might say that envy means the same as jealousy, but do you see what I'm saying about the distinctions? Ramon says, I see, but envy and jealousy are similar in scope. I think your distinction is quite good, although sometimes it becomes difficult for people to offer that sort of distinction because there is a good deal of selfishness in the world. And I said, I would hope that people would not be jealous of me. It feels like they would wish ill on me. Ramon says, yes, I see what you're saying, but don't you have issues of jealousy to work on? I said, I guess sometimes I do, but I try not to verbally express them. I don't want to take anything away from others. And Ramon asked, do you sometimes resent them? And I said, I guess, but I'm working on that. I don't want to be angry with someone who has more success or awesome experiences. I just want to be happy for them. I know that I'm not perfect, but I do have my human tendencies to deal with. And Ramon says, indeed, but to acknowledge them is a good thing. You recognize that you are not perfect. It shows humility and strength. I said, maybe, but don't get too complimentary. I don't want to get a swelled head. And Ramon starts to laugh. Not to worry. Nigel is wound to keep you balanced. I said, I'm glad. Thank you, Ramon, for this lovely conversation. And he says, keep in mind, your guides are always here, and if you need us, the channel to us is always open. And so that's where we ended. And that was really nice. As I said, usually I say, oh, that was so nice, that was so lovely. But there is something really, really grounded in all of this. My recognition that I'm not perfect and that I do make mistakes and that sometimes my feelings are not the most kind that they could be or as they might be or what have you. But it was a nice balanced meditation. It was a nice balanced feel that, yeah, I do have my human tendencies. I'm not perfect, and I never would say that I am. And anyone who says that they're perfect either needs to get their head examined or they need to recognize that they are just as human as the rest of us. So that was what I got today. But I thought it was very nice. So we are unpacking a little bit of the current events that are going on in the world and what we can do as people to get through them. But I think that we're doing okay, and I feel an optimistic sense about what's coming in the future. I have, as I said in the meditation, I watch quite a few intuitives on YouTube, and I get some very, very hopeful messages through them. And they sort of parallel what I've been getting from Sunshine, from Nigel, and from Ramon with regards to the current events. So there is hope there. It's just sometimes it's hard to find or it's hard to see, but there is something there. And I think that the more I do this, the more I recognize that that the intuitives who are predicting that things will get better and that things, we have to go through a little bit of a rough patch before we get to the sunshine at the end of the tunnel, no pun intended. But it will get better. Things will get better, and we'll just have to be there for each other during those difficult times. But so my message is to hang in there, and hopefully things will start to look up in the coming days. And I have a funny feeling that they will. So take care. And I hope you have a wonderful day. This is a little shorter than the other meditations, but didn't write as much, or I wrote actually as much, but I just read through it faster. I don't know. Usually takes me about a half an hour to an hour just to write all this down. So if I were to sit here with the camera and write, then it would probably be 30 minutes long. So reading it is a lot faster than writing it down. But at any rate, I wish you a wonderful day. I hope you have a lot of great events and experiences today, and I wish you all the best. And until next time, take care, and as always, namaste.